All right, Nick, what do you do if you are ranked 30th in the NFL last season in pass rush like the Atlanta Falcons were? You go out and find a quality pass rusher. In this latest report by a very credible source, we have the Falcons doing just that. But before we get to that, I'm Andrew, and this is Saturday Morning Inspection. All right, Nick, as I alluded to, great source linking to the Falcons to a big offseason move, talking about a pass rusher that would really help this team out. Let's get into the article when we talk more about it on the other side. This, of course, from SI.com. It says, in the lead up to the 2014 NFL Draft, the Atlanta Falcons were linked to outside linebacker Khalil Mack, who ultimately went one pick before. Now, 11 years later, the Falcons may finally get the chance to add Mack to their roster. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, great source, the sense is Los Angeles will make efforts to re-sign Mack, who will play in 2025 after he needed to take time to mull over his future following the season, Fowler wrote. He also goes on to say the Chargers believe he embodies the spirit of the team's toughness, but many teams will be lurking for potential pass rush help, including, but not limited to, the Atlanta Falcons and the Carolina Panthers. Very interesting there. Can the Falcons sneak in, steal Mack away? I think there's a good possibility there. Curious what your thoughts are on this one, Nick. But before we get to you, Falcons fan, in the comment section below, as I said last season, pretty bad at the pass rush department. Do you think Mack is the answer? Is there somebody else you like out there as a pass rusher for this team? Let us know your thoughts on the fix to this Falcons pass rush in the comment section below. But nonetheless, Nick, what do you think about this latest news for the Falcons?
So I think, like you said, Jeremy Fowler is a very reputable source. Obviously, there's still a lot of speculation going on this time of the year, but the fact that he's linked the Atlanta Falcons to Khalil Mack, I think gives it some backing, especially since everyone knows the Falcons need pass rush help and need it absolutely in the worst way. So it makes a lot of sense that Terry Fontenot and the Atlanta Falcons would be linked to Khalil Mack. And I think there's a decent chance of that happening. As much as the Chargers really like Khalil Mack, they've got a lot of tough decisions to make. They got a lot of holes on their roster. They're going to want to spend a lot of money. The Chargers are on offense. They're going to be less inclined to spend some on defense, especially if they can't get a trade partner for Bosa that they're trying to ship right now. So there's a really good chance, as much as the Chargers want Mack, they won't be able to bring him back into the fold because they have other priorities and other liabilities, especially Bosa, weighing down on their roster and salary cap situation. And that opens up the opportunity here for the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons are a very interesting position, I think, when it comes to their pass rush. Obviously, they're ranked very lowly. You brought up their ranking. I think according to PFF, they finished second to last in sacks last year. Not good at all at getting after the quarterback. But they remind me of a team, if you look at an offensive football team, that has nothing but number two wide receivers, and they're just missing that one elite guy. The Atlanta Falcons are that team for their pass rushers. They got a bunch of really solid guys. They got some young guys, some veteran guys, guys that can do a decent enough job, but they don't have that dude, that number one, just dominating any one-on-one matchup, draws double teams, open things up for other players. They don't have that guy. They're hoping Judon could be that guy. He turned out to not be that guy for the Atlanta Falcons defense. Khalil Mack definitely would be right away. And I think that's why it's such a perfect fit, and it makes so much sense. Khalil Mack's the kind of guy that can come in and unlock the rest of your pass rushers. And then you'll start seeing a lot of guys that weren't doing so good, weren't getting a lot of sacks. Suddenly you'll see their numbers spike up because everyone's focused suddenly on stopping number 52 coming off the edge. I think this move makes a lot of sense for both sides. Obviously, the Falcons have some salary cap issues to work out. They got some other deals, potentially trading Kyle Pitts, a bunch of other decisions here. Maybe Kirk Cousins gets moved. A lot of question marks involving the offensive side of the ball in the Falcons' own right. But everyone knows they're going to go aggressive for edge rusher this offseason. Probably not going to wait for the draft. So the Khalil Mack connection makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, Nick, can we talk about the Falcons? Like you said, they've been bad at the pass rush department, but you know who's been good in the front for it, traditionally a really strong team, is the New York Jets. So that's why the hiring of a guy like Nate Ollie as the defensive line coach, I think that's going to boost things up. I think it's going to help them turn around some stuff. Getting a guy like Khalil Mack, hopefully they don't waste that talent, because I think this is why they're going all in on that defensive line, on that pass rush. Last year, like, they tried to do it. Matthew Judon isn't quite a Khalil Mack. He's not of that caliber. Khalil Mack's still playing extremely high level football, even at an old age. But you look at last year for the Falcons, both guys, Lorenzo Carter and Matthew Judon, had the worst seasons of their entire career with the Atlanta Falcons. I don't think it's entirely on them. I think somewhere in translation, the scheme or whatever they were trying to work on the defensive line just wasn't adding up for a lot of people. It wasn't getting things done in Atlanta. It's not very, common for two guys to just all of a sudden have the worst seasons of their career. I think the offense probably also had something to do with it as well. So I think the hiring of Nate Ollie and the addition of a guy like Khalil Mack, getting this defensive line back up to snuff, could be huge for the Atlanta Falcons. Raheem Morris wants to see the defense thrive. I think they're going to throw some resources at it, see what things can get done here. And I wouldn't be surprised to see the Falcons land Mack once free agency starts.
And one final point to end on here, we all know and everyone understands this. Terry Fontenot's on a very short lease. Everyone expects if the Falcons don't take a big leap next year, he'll be gone as a general manager. So what does that mean? It means he is going to be aggressive. He's not so worried about short-term salary cap issues. He'll definitely push that out into the out years. He's going to go out and try and get some veteran stars, and I think Khalil Mack is a perfect candidate, and it just makes sense for all parties. Like you said, I would not be surprised one bit if the Falcons make this move once free agency becomes official.